welcome. Hello, welcome everybody to the VO Dojo Ask the Sensei. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is our free monthly Q&A where we are here to answer your questions about what's going on in your voiceover world on your journey. And we each month are joined by an esteemed voiceover colleague in different genres with different specialties, and also cross them. But we're super excited to welcome Lori Allen here as our guest sensei. We'll have her introduce herself and hopefully everyone got a link to the 21 questions interview that we did the other week. If you haven't had a chance to take that in, it's really good. It's really lovely way to get to know Lori and how awesome she is. And we are here to focus on how awesome you are and keep everyone moving forward. We are joined by Dojo team here, Jeffrey Gilbank and Kelsey V. They are here to support us. And so if you need anything, chat with them in the background. So how this works is I just introduced ourselves. In just a second, I'll introduce Lori and have her introduce herself. And then since this is a Q&A, the meat and potatoes of this call is your questions. So if you want to put your questions in the chat, we'll get to see what's on everyone's minds, and we'll go through and answer as many as we can until 11. Lori's got a hard out at 11. We might hang out, and if you have time, we'll stay and we can do breakout rooms and continue the discussion a little after 11. So if you want to put in where you're from, and maybe even where you're at on your journey. Like, are you working pro booking all the time? Are you training? Do you have your demo? Do you have representation? Like, just give a sense of where you are on your journey, and then let's put your questions in there while Lori's introducing herself, and then we'll see your questions, and then we'll call you to get your voice in the room and answer them. So that's the lowdown. Lori,
Is
so
everyone properly
cool.
caffeinated like me? I have one precious cup. I have one cup of coffee a day because it's not great for your voice. So I'm like, nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. I've actually had GERD issues, so I've had to
You got
forego.
to watch your allergies because that's what drips down into your cords, and you got to watch food and acid reflux, which most of us have, even if you're young. What comes up in your vocal cords? You'd be surprised.
Yeah. So give us a 1 minute intro to the amazing world of Lori Allenishness.
Oh my goodness. Thanks everybody. Thank you so much, Tish, and everybody for having me. Thank you, Catherine Campion, for introducing us. And I know so many of you people on here, and what a pleasure. It's just so great. I just need a tribe. I need a tribe. I need a community, always. Even before the pandemic, right? When we have been recording and everything from home. So I just need my tribe. So I'm so grateful. To now be with you guys. And I musical theater kid from the East Coast, and then my parents did voiceover, so it was sort of like, oh, I'll just do what they do. I think if I had said I wanted to come home and be a lawyer or doctor, from college, they would have been like, that's insane. You need to be a tap dancer and a juggler. So I'm very grateful that I have that. I started off doing, like I said, theater, musical theater and plays, and then commercials and all that throughout college. And then I came out here because I was actually doing the Groundlings East, and I was going to do In Living Color, and I didn't get it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I just love doing characters and funny voices. And so I was already doing some promo and commercial voiceover from coaches and parents sort of in my blood. And then I took a ton of classes and really worked hard on my demo. And took casting director workshops, and here we are. So now I'm sort of a jack of all trades, and I love that. And I'm constantly in student coach brain and constantly still working, thank God. And it's one of the main things that hopefully that I could stress to you, since I'll be done with this little longer than 1 minute wrap up, sorry, is that it is a marathon, not a race. Your creativity is always going. It's an ongoing process. If there's never an end, or like, aha, now I'm ready to work. No, your voice changes, the trends change, everything changes. The only thing that's constant is change. So we're that's the good news, right? That's the good news, is that there's no like end result. And I have to, I will book a job when this happens, or every 400 auditions, why aren't I getting this? So that's where I'm at, is really just accepting where I am today, right now, in this moment. And so there you go. There's my 2 cents worth.
Yay, yay, excellent, excellent. And wanted to introduce Kat Campion too, who is one of our dojo senseis, and she's on the call here as well. So Kat, feel free to join us if you can, if you have if questions come up. So yay, thank you. And Kat is a magical person of connecting people, and that is a super power in this business, and that's what we're doing here, getting to meet each other and know each other here. So, um, cool. Well, let us begin. Kelsey, what is our first question? What is our first question?
Our first question is from Zoe Strong, and if you have a document, Zoe, come on into the room with your question.
There she is. Hi, Zoe. What's your question?
Hi, are you guys able to hear me okay?
No, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So my question is, what tips did you have to get yourself out of your head and into the working world?
Yes, great
Mm.
question. When I first started, you were already on this, you were, coming from the street, going, walking, parking, going into your agent's, office, or the casting office. You'd be chit-chatting with people before, right? So, I think the way to, for me, what I try to do, right, ask it again, was to how to get in, not get into character, but what did you say?
Out of your head
Out of
into
my head. Thank
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Is to for my audition specifically, I really do like, what's the pre-life? I lead myself in, I talk myself in, and I make sure that I know who I'm talking to. I just know that each thing, even if it's like tonight at 5, tonight at 9, if it's a promo or a commercial, like the all new Prius, or if it's an animated thing, like you evil princess, like I always know who I'm talking to. I always have, even if I just make notes, Princess Tish, like, and I just use like what's going on in my day, you know, evil Zoe, or I write words like, she's trying to emasculate him here, whatever. So I always have an imaginary scene partner, because we're in there by ourselves, right? So beforehand, I might try to, for me, I'm, run really like high energy. So for me, it might be exercising and then kind of taking a deep breath and making that space a sacred space. But I always sort of, to get kind of spiritual about it, I always invite universe, God, whatever, whoever's in there. And then I invite like imaginary people in there. And once in a blue moon, like I'll lead myself in, I'll be like, Tish, you can't believe this. And then I'll go, use it as a lead in, and I'll find a point of view by talking myself in, and then go in and really make sure I carry the energy through the last letter on punctuation of whatever script I have. Is that helpful?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was an amazing answer. Thank you.
You're so
And
welcome.
at the dojo, we have a set of a little toolbox that we, not a little toolbox, it's a very powerful toolbox. A toolbox that we call the pre-flight checklist. And it includes the braid of analysis, which is connection, logic, and energy. So the connection one is really when you pull on the connection thread, it has an instant effect of pulling you out of your head and into your heart. And it's similar questions. Who are you talking to? And well,
Not
actually
but what is
first,
relationship? I think
yeah.
that, if I may, like, what's so, real quick, what's so great and fun, specifically about animation, right? Is there's a reason Marge and Homer Simpson, SpongeBob and Patrick, all the thing. We love to hear relationships. So just substitute whoever you might be talking to. And we just get sharper, and it just becomes sharper and easier. I'm talking to Kat. I'm talking to Zoe. Okay, I'm talking to my mom. I'm talking to so and so. And what is their relationships? And oftentimes in scripture, you're never going to get that information. So I think that you can just have a point of view, make a choice and stick with it based on what you've been given. And if you're talking about Sir Lancelot of Barry, and you're like, I don't know who the heck that is. Well, just make it up. Have an opinion. Don't get wishy-washy, commit 100%. And then they'll be like, she was great. Yeah, we did a really crappy job at writing that spec, but she did great. She went for it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and the first part of the thread of connection is what resonates with you, and that goes across all genres. Like, what is it about this that I do relate to, or don't relate to? Because sometimes you're like, wow, I hate cheese. Ugh, I'm
Yeah.
lactose intolerant. I can't stand it. It makes me vomit. Like, whatever comes up for you, what do you resonate with? And then you have that honest reaction in your body. And then who's one person in real life that you can share it with, as Laura was saying? Who's one person in real life that you know that you can share it with? And I think sometimes to know if you're a person who deals with things from your head, usually, or from your heart, usually, just to notice what your, if what your proclivity is, and then keep on trying to flip it, right? Because maybe if you're only from the heart, you need to kind of analyze what's going on in the script, and if you're mostly from your head, you need to open up what is the heart, what is happening in the heart, right? Yeah. So, yeah, yeah,
Thank
good
you guys so
question.
much. That was super insightful, and I really appreciate your answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just practicing, right? The difference between sharing and reading.
Yeah,
That's a big thing.
exactly. And so vocalizations are really important. I don't think that you would improv so much in a commercial. You might want, there's very few times that I've added an improv in a commercial audition. If it was like Target, Marshalls, anything that's kind of, high energy, like guys for like a beer or McDonald's, you might be like, hey, the new McCafe coffee, da 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 da, right? For animation, we want to hear you like, so if I'm like really have a crush on Jeffrey, then I'm going to be like, you go to the prom with me, right? So already I see smiles, I see a reaction, right? So it's not, you're not trying to overwrite it, talk fast, loud, furious, be high energy, campy, be obnoxious, but you're going to have a natural, if I'm a young teenage girl, let's say that's the audition, and she has a crush on Jeffrey, then you're going to have some natural vocalizations, especially in those first lines, not to totally try to impress them, but to make sure that you have breathed life and talk like how we naturally do that, right? Also, the same thing with efforts and noises and things like that in like games. And by the way, they're doing some kind of construction in my neighbor's yard. Can you guys hear that? I can go shut the door.
A little
Can
bit,
you
but we can
hear
have
that?
dueling because they're trimming trees around my house.
Oh,
So
okay. I'll go close it as soon as I finish. And I didn't know if you wanted me to jump in places. I'm assuming that you do. And if not, you'll tell me. But
oh yeah, no, this is great.
yeah, I think that vocalization really, like I was saying, effort noises, right? So if I'm in a video game and I'm pulling somebody to safety and I'm like, you know, um, Kelsey, I've got you. That's not how it works. You'd be like, Kelsey, I got you, girl. I'm trying. Yeah. So efforts, laughing, flirting, all those things, we don't just say something and then make the pull to get someone to safety. You're trying the whole time, right? So, acting is really like stimulus response, stimulus response. So it also takes the pressure off you. If you just talk like how, I have this very simple thing, like talk like how you talk. What do you actually want in the scene? What do you want? To save her from falling off the edge. What do I want? I want to seduce the king. What do I want? It's very simple. In commercials, it's easy. I want you to buy this thing, So commercials tend to be a bit easier, but equally as tricky because it's with that retail copy. So any way that you can find your way in, how you feel about the product, like Tish said, which is so great. Like I don't eat meat, so I might substitute, chocolate. I might
Mhm.
choose to just replace that with something. And if it's a feeling spot, like if it's a, like I love to go sauna or spa, you know, you can replace some feel good thing about, you know, even like a commercial about like Pampers or babies. Like, I don't like children, let other people do that. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? But I'll think of something that gives me that same feeling. Just connect to your feelings. And we're all empath, highly sensitive people. We're all artists. So that stuff, just go down and grab it and just go from where you're at for the day. Right. So like, you know, whether it's, I think Tish and I were talking about this for the questions. It's like, you may have a sick animal or be running late, or this audition was yesterday, or oh, I'm hungry, or you know what I mean? Just go from where your feelings are today, right now, who you are. Don't try to block anything out. Use whatever, whoever, however you can access your feelings as you are today, right now, and go from there. You can't be or do or sound like anyone that you're not unless you're being asked to do a voice match. So I hope that's
And
helpful.
that's a great antidote for having an idea in your head of how it
Yes.
sounds. So that's great.
Yeah.
Great, great, great. Who's next? Kelsey?
So we have Lillian Artria, and please say your name so I know.
Hi, sorry. My name is Liling Artria.
And what's your question, Lily?
Um, my question is, what was the experience like for voicing Pearl from SpongeBob?
Well, I still voice her. I voiced her last week, and it is so fun because I got to really use my imagination. I did get a picture of her. This was 25 years ago. So I did get a picture of her and I got a spec, and I saw that she was sort of a daddy's girl and she liked to go to the mall. And so I could easily, like, you know, think of me as a teenager. It's very loud, excuse me, but I knew she was huge. So I just kind of like had this voice of like a girl that likes to go to the mall and likes boys and is like, Dad, give me my allowance so I can go buy stuff. And then I thought she's got to be really big. So I just imagined her big, which is like a physicalization, like, you know, besides going off mic, we can at least rehearse with our physical selves. And it's so hard, right? Because a lot of time we're sitting down in front of our microphone. But whenever, I really suggest that if there's a way you can stand up, take off your headphones. It's going to give you such a more organic experience to read. You're not listening to what you think you should do. And so I knew she was kind of girly. And so I just translated this into like, and I knew that her voice would be so much lower and she would kind of still have that like almost a valley girl like upswing. And then I just added this weird giggle by accident, and then they love that. So I was like, and it said, she said daddy. And so I was like, daddy. And so these funny giggles, she said daddy. And so that's how I came up with Pearl.
I love it. Thank you.
And I'm gonna, while you get the next question, I'm gonna go close whatever mayhem is
Yeah.
outside.
But it's kind of exciting, isn't it, guys, that every animation audition that you get, it could be that whatever you're making up right there in the moment is something that 25 years later will still be alive and well and thriving and part of generations of experiences. That's kind of powerful and empowering and makes
Yeah,
you
and
want
it
to
just
think,
goes to
ooh, lots
show
of
you too,
choices.
my mentor, Charlie Adler, I don't know if I can use some foul language here or not, but he always says, F them, F them. Not in a horrible way, but meaning like, you know, Judy Garland and Laurence Olivier used to have stage fright. I get stage fright sometimes. And I will, like, they used to go out and open for theater. They used to open the red curtains of a stage and say to the audience, right? Meaning you're not going to get the best of me, basically my nerves, right? So if you think of like F them, like it's a collaborative effort, casting legitimately, unless you're doing a voice match. And even so, it's going to be an interpretation of a voice match. They don't know what they want. That's why they're holding auditions. So instead of trying to think what they want, do what brings you joy and fun and gives you the giggles, or gives you like an acting challenge to where you're like, that was good. I'm done. And my thing too is like, don't overthink things. If you're on take 5, take 6, especially for animation, even commercial, I would say get out of the booth. When all else fails, send like take 2. It'll always be you've gotten some of the flubs of the lines. You'll find a few other nuances. And if you have to obviously do an audiobook or a narration, you're going to be in the booth for hours, whatever. days if you're lucky enough to get that kind of gig, right? For narration, things like that. But you instinctually do know what to do. And the thing with, especially with animation, is you're resetting between each line. So each line is a different strategy, a different way to show something different about that character. To seduce, to whatever, you know, I just keep saying seduce. And adding on emotions are always really fun. So I think when we really get out of the mindset of what they want and what do I want to do, can I just think about what I'm going to give and not what I'm going to get? I don't want to get a job. I don't want to get this booking. I don't want to get success. Well, duh, of course we want all that. But what can I give? What can I give to this performance? Can I make some interesting choices? Can I make myself chuckle? Can I serve the text? Can I do something really interesting? And can I be proud of what I just did? And then can I kind of drop the mic and go about your day?
Yeah, at the dojo we say at the dojo we say there is no they, there's only we. So you want to be collaborating, like the people that you've worked with for the last 25 years are people that are part of the team. You're part of the team, you're creating. So how do you not even think about they, but give yourself the job and give yourself the job and it's we. We're making something here. It's a good thing. Good thing. Yeah. Um, great. What are the questions, Kelsey?
Alrighty, on to the next one. We have lovely Terry Briscoe's around.
Hey, hi, Terry.
Terry, come on in.
Yeah, how everybody doing today?
Good.
You kind of just went into it a little bit in the last couple of questions, but I want you to elaborate a little further. After
Yeah.
having developed so many different characters throughout the years, how do you go about developing new characters after you've done that many? And are there any specific techniques that you use? Like,
Yes. Okay, get out a piece of paper and a pencil, pen, whatever. Make your cast of characters list. So I highly suggest keeping a cast of characters that you can draw upon. You're just going to grab the essence of someone. Like, so relatives are great. All the kids that bullied me when I was in school, my mother after she's had a cocktail, what I sounded like when I was little, how I talked to my dog, my dad when he was being a jerk, my auntie is very hilarious, my grandmother, teachers, in-laws. It's a great opportunity to make fun of somebody who's sitting right next to you and they'll never know it. Celebrity impressions you do well, that you don't do well, because no one's going to know. I had I'll finish that. Dialects you do well, dialects you don't do well. People that just have an idiosyncratic thing about the way they talk. Like, you know, Drew Barrymore talks out of the side of her mouth. I am too old to play Drew Barrymore, but it cracks me up for some reason. Not in a bad way. I think I actually adore her. For the most part. And then, but I love the way she talks out of the side of her mouth. I don't know why I like to imitate that, and my friends get a kick out of that. Anyone that your friends say you do is funny, either someone or something, right? And so I can do an older witch character that talks out of the side of her mouth, right? So I'll give you two examples of people that I have on my list, and old timey, like really good comedians. Like for all you younger folks, you can watch like Laugh-In and some very good like vaudevillian, like just straight up comedy people that do like one woman shows, like Lily Tomlin, Whoopi Goldberg, they're John Leguizamo, because you can see how they draw from their own life. So drawing from your own arsenal is so important. That also helps with I don't care what you guys think. And you know, if it says a kid with braces, do a kid with braces. You know what I mean? But like if you just love the tone of like Cate Blanchett and you like that reserved attitude, she goes on your list, right? Male, female, doesn't matter. So for example, I had a job when our governor in California was Arnold Schwarzenegger. The way he said California just cracked me up for some reason. So I had to do this really cool like lesbian gym teacher somewhere Eastern European. So I was like, ladies, get down and give me 25 push-ups. And I did the job because I just pulled this essence of what I thought is funny from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love Goldie Hawn because she's kind of dingy and nothing really lands. The way she talks is like, well, anyway, it's like loud and piercing, you know? So I had an audition where it was supposed to be a dingy but very warm mom with 4 kids, but she goes off on tangents. So I did my best, Goldie Hawn, but then I just brought in a lot of warmth. And I made sure I'm a big fan of levels, because if it's dingy, we all tend to do this the whole time. Or if it's evil, we tend to be evil the whole time. Not dingy people they're going to still have a moment of warmth. And evil people are going to have a moment of suspicion, right? And really sweet people are going to have a moment of being strong. So I try to find levels. And I try to draw from all those different people. I had a list in my purse for 17 years until my wallet got stolen. So your list is ever changing. Yeah, that's how I keep my list and draw from people.
Great answer.
That's yeah, that's
And
awesome.
prototypes, right? So, um, pay attention to who and what is trending, right? So for a lot of middle-aged white guys, it's going to be Jason Bateman, Ryan Reynolds, that sort of off-the-cuff sarcasm, right? I'll see for a lot of black men like Don Cheadle, for black women, I'll see a lot of Tracy Ellis Ross, Viola Davis, Kiki Palmer, so pay attention to what specs you're being given and listen. It's a great reason to watch television and movies. And if you get a specific reference, go on YouTube and listen to that and go ahead and take a second and look it up and see what it might be and how that just resonates with you. If they're not asking you to do a voice match, but find out what it is that, oh, he's got this dry wit. Okay, so do I. Just kind of piece the dots together,
Yeah, yeah. And I think mostly, just be willing to play fully. Let your imagination go wild. The first time I made a animation demo with back with Sue Blue, I was just I had a roll of toilet paper and I had a Sharpie and I was just like drawing things that came like drawing things and it was like a crabby toilet and then I just played around with voicing them. So we all have that infinite ability to make up anything, right? And then be able to like kind of calibrate, ooh, what did I just do? Ooh, wait a minute. I think when you click into someone you don't even have to think about what it is because it's just it's just like, oh, it's Chachi Annie, right? Got me another vodka tonic. But just keep on trusting and letting your playground be as wide as your imagination
Yeah,
allows.
because you're going to get on a show and per SAG rules, you're going to, let's say I'm playing Pearl and you have to be fast on your feet. So I'm a big fan of improv. Don't ever wait. Like in class, I'm teaching something right now, I'm like unmute and go. You have to be like, go, go, go. You have to be funny, fast. That's just the way it is, especially for animation or anything for that matter. You need to make the casting director look good, the producer to look good. So when you're in a session, and they say, can she sound like she just sharpened a pencil? Absolutely. Like, what the hell kind of direction is that? But you're going to be really good shit. Can she sound like she just put a bookmark in her book? I'm looking at this great book that my friend Catherine gave me, right? Can she just, sure, absolutely, boom, give another choice. And on a show, if I'm asked to do Pearl, most likely they're going to say, can you play like the girl at the mall? Can you do the mean mom? Can you do the librarian? Sure. So, right. So then you got to be able to just pop those out really quickly. And they're going to say, can you give me something different? Can you give me 3 in a row? Absolutely. Fast and furious. Don't be fat, like talk fast, but you got to have this arsenal of characters and trust that they're in there. They really are in there. But improv is some of the most important training you could ever do, so that you are always prepared and you feel confident. You have a sense of confidence for you and the confidence for the rest of the people you're collaborating this commercial, this narration, this animation, this animated series. You are confident and people will call you back over and over and over again. So every time you audition, you're basically auditioning for a bunch of things. It's not just this one thing. They will remember you. They keep a file on you. Trust me, I know this from experience.
Yay. Great. What other questions do we have?
Okay, our next one is from Robert Jackson. Come on in, Robert.
Tisha, am I
Can you hear
talking
me?
too much? Sorry, I'm talking too much, I think. I'm
No,
not.
you're doing great. Yeah,
Okay, good.
trust your instincts. You're doing great. It's all
Good.
good. It's all good. Yeah. Robert.
Yes, Robert, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, sweet. So my question for Lori is, as a stage theater actor, because I know you've done a lot of, theater and whatnot. Just out of curiosity, because I was also thinking about this a lot lately. But do you draw like I know you mentioned like, celebrities or just doing an impression of somebody that you know, but do you also draw from like experiences from life and apply it into voiceover? Like, Um, I know there's something, I don't know if it's called like, I don't want to say method acting, but more like drawing from like, something that happened in your life and you
Yeah, oh,
remember it. And then
100%.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's something from a video game where I had to access this intense grief of losing my child, like on the battlefield. It's just, video games are absolutely so beautiful. And the stakes are very much like life or death. Everyone's dying. Um, and it's intense. And whether you've had personal grief or the sort of PTSD collective grief of these past 4 years of what's been going on in the world, it's a lot and it doesn't seem to let up, right? So go ahead and access that. But I can say it with some humor now. I couldn't at the time and I can't always, but I can access like the day I had to say goodbye to my sweet soulmate dog, like however I have to connect to that. I had to play this racist, my son has swastikas in his room and I'm not even aware of it, like alcoholic mother. And I plugged into this woman that I had run into in New York who was really scary to me. And I just sort of like imagined that I was her with my circumstances. So yes, I will pull upon, grief, or I did this I did this hilarious character when a funny example on Doc McStuffins, and it was Gloria the Laughing Gorilla, and I had to crack up like incessantly. And so I am one to laugh, right? So I don't know what I did, but I got myself like hysterical. My boyfriend at the time was like, "What are you doing in there?" Because I was in the booth and I had to get my inhaler. So I remembered being like at camp when we would do that game where it's called Ha Ha, where you land someone's stomach and then you all start cracking up. And so I booked it and I brought my inhaler to the session because I knew I would. And as predicted, I was like from laughing so hard. So yes, I will absolutely be. I'm proud to be a method voice actor.
Well, and I think I just had a private coaching with someone who had a big breakthrough about, oh, I was keeping myself out of the booth. Like he was all about like, oh, I have an idea of what it is. And it was a huge crack open of like, no, 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 bring everything in. Those are your ingredients. Those are your ingredients for everything that you make. So there's no separation of, and I think that what you know, truly good or bad, like we've been talking about, is always more interesting than your idea of something.
Mhm.
Oh, I think
Surprise
this is what,
yourself.
yeah,
Surprise yourself.
yeah.
Don't ever double negative, bad grammar, but don't ever not surprise yourself. That's terrible. Sorry. But don't ever not surprise yourself. If you're like, especially for a take two, you can give them what they want, with adding in something fun. And then for a take two, surprise them, you know, do something, especially if it's like 3 lines. And it's sort of a nondescript, like, young teenage kid or like an evil witch, like maybe she is from Romania. Maybe she's, yeah, I don't know. She's on that. Maybe she's drunk. You're going to add in an emotion, right? So there's all sorts of, I think I told Tish this, and I know a lot of you that I know on this call, my therapist made me download this emotion wheel. You don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
get physical. But what I love is that, so let's say the character's happy. Well, is she? Because if you go off from this wheel, there's joyful, interested, proud, powerful, peaceful, intimate, optimistic. Right. So this really helps for commercials too, because you're not going to get too into angry for commercials. But really interested in that Prius. What if you're really interested or you feel joyful about this new thing you bought because it's Christmas time and I just got into a voiceover voice? Or what if it's intimate and it's about healthcare and you're talking to one person, right? What if you're sad, right? So for like the evil queen, does she feel guilty about her, Princess Tish, that she's locked up, right? Maybe maybe she's despair, maybe she's depressed, right? Inferior, vulnerable, powerless. These are hesitant. So to download this emotion wheel is fantastic. That also can give you a great read for anything. I use that a lot, vulnerable, and I'll write those on my script as like keywords. I'm not going to play vulnerable. It's like you don't play drunk, you play trying to, try to play getting sober. But those just help me kind of stay grounded. I can just put them on the script and make sure that I stay grounded. And with animation, there's going to be these pulled out 1 lines. And so you have to reset in between each because they're almost like they're each are 1 line scripts. So they each deserve that. Who are you talking to? What just happened before? Talk yourself in. What emotion might you add in? What do you want from this person? And then reset. and do the next line.
Yeah. What you just said on the emotion wheel that's set up like a color wheel. Sometimes we talk about the taffy pull. Like if you can figure out like, okay, so she's evil, but what's the other thing? What's the thing that creates a taffy pull that two things are going on at once? And then let see what happens there. Then that
Yeah.
stuff you don't know how that goes. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, cool. Great questions, guys. What's next? It's like Christmas. Yay! What's next?
All right, y'all. Emily Folger, come on up.
Hello.
Emily, what's your question?
So my question really quick first, I loved you hosting at That's Voiceover. Super cool to see you again. My question is, how was your transition going to home studio from recording in studio for so long? And how do you handle being your own engineer and not worry about like the fear of, oh, I'm peaking, oh, I'm too quiet, that kind of thing?
Sure. Thank you. Nice to see you. I've been working from home now before the pandemic. So my takeaways from being at home and being self-directing is, are you having a full, happy, rich life elsewhere? Because this can be isolative. There's just no way of getting around it, right? Can you talk to somebody on the phone? Like find out what works best for you. Like I'm an extrovert, but I also need to calm the heck down. So for me, it's helpful if I talk to someone, and sometimes I'll literally like hold up a Sharpie or my phone so that I feel like I can keep that intimate read, but so that I'm also sort of talking to someone while I'm in the booth. And like I'll play some music. I have stuff in the booth to, who are you? Who am I talking to? I have a picture of my family. I have a picture of Spongebob because I'm often talking to him. And then I hope that's helpful. But to really truly have a big, full, rich life is the importance, because if we equate, working at home and if I get this job, then I'm successful. I think for me, that sets me up for success, because you have to know that there'll be such highs and lows, like tremendous lows, low, no booking, no booking, no booking. And then you'd be like, whoa, I have 2 sessions in a day or 2 sessions in a week. Yay. In terms, I know the basics. My job is to be an actor. I know how to not peak, and that's about it. And I know how to take out the breaths. That's for somebody else. That's for George Whittam or all the folks that you guys have at the dojo that are at your plethora of wonderful folks that they provide you with. That's not my thing. I don't want that to be my thing. I don't want to know. I know how to like mark my takes. I know to back off from the mic. I know how to turn the gain up and down. And that's all I want to know. I want to be an actor. So that's just for me.
Yeah, and I think that, that idea of we're wearing multiple hats. And so when you're beginning your journey, you have to recognize that there are hats, right? And then you have to build your skills in the hats, and then you have to build your skills of being like, oh, okay, wait, that's an engineer question. Okay, wait, I need to take that off. Back to redoing that take because it did peak. And or
you start right, like knowing where you land commercially wise. Like I know for Pearl, I'm loud anyway, but I have to like back off and I kind of turn to the right so I don't pee pop, and I tend to be a pee popper, and I tend to take a lot of breaths because I probably don't have good, amazing breath control because I'm hyper. So but I've heard to not take out too many breaths. So I'll take out some breaths, but I don't take out a lot. So I think if you know your voice, to be quite honest, after a certain while, you shouldn't be pee popping, right? You should just know how to turn the gain up and down. And then that's kind of about it. If you're doing more, then maybe you hire someone to help you. Like if you're a promo guy or you're a radio imaging person or an audiobook and you have to turn back all of that stuff, sweetened, gained up and down, that's a different thing. But for commercials, promo auditions and animation, you should kind of just kind of do you. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the simpler you can take it, being sound engineering is something that has been a more recent development. I mean, it's not so
Right.
so long. It has been a long time, but it is part of our responsibility. And yet we don't have to be sound engineers, right? I think that's the thing. Clean the raw physical clean file that fits the basic parameters is really our part of the job. Anything else is what the sound engineers are paid to do. And then now in the business, when we are required to do the jobs of 10 people, um, then just be aware that that is a separate thing. And then, as Lori was saying, always have someone who knows more about it to be able to ask. So, and the most thing is, like, I think like anything else, one of the questions we ask early on at the dojo is, where are you on the gamut from technophobe to gearhead, right? Because those are kind of two extremes. And if you're scared of it, if it causes you physical anxiety to figure out how it all works, that's detrimental because that's going to keep you from doing the real. And if you're too in it, if you're like, oh, I've got my doesn't matter if your reads aren't good. If you're what you're speaking into it doesn't matter how much or how big or what you have, because that's not our job. So
Your
it's a
job is awesome,
requirement.
and maybe plenty may disagree with me, but I try to get really brave and take off once I know my settings are great. Like, I know that I'm loud, so I'll turn down for animation, and then I turn it to like 12 o'clock. Like, that's all I really want to know. As I said, sorry, they're doing work outside behind the house. If you're hearing like, those are cool noises, I try to really take my headphones off. I don't want to
I
listen
think
to
it
the
makes
sound
a
of my
big
own voice.
difference. Yeah, you can do this real quick. I call this poor man's cans, but put your arms up like this, and then speak into your space, and
Mhm.
then keep on speaking into your space, and now put your elbows in and see how everyone else goes away except for your
Ooh, I like that.
beautiful voice. It's so good. And then it's like, oh wait, I'm sorry, are you guys still here? But what we want to experience is, hi, I'm talking to you. That's what we want to capture in our mic, not me going like, ooh, yeah, right? But that's is what happens. And then it's a paradox, right? It's a paradox because when we're in a session, we're wearing our cans because that's how we hear things, right? So you got to figure out how to, I think, develop without it. And if you're in a situation where you don't need to work with your cans, or take one off, but those are all things. We are at about 9 minutes before the top of the hour, and I want to give an opportunity, Lori, for us to say how to keep in touch with us. And if this is interesting, let's keep the conversation going. But Lori, how do people keep in touch with you? Oh, we can't hear you.
We'll never know.
Sorry, they're doing the street, so I turned it off so you could read. Sorry. I see two questions from Tom and Elizabeth that I would love to answer if we have time.
Well, if you want to just let us know how Jeffrey will
Yeah.
put it in,
Yes,
and then
yes, yes.
we'll share, and then we'll finish up with some questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Tish. I appreciate it. LoriAllen.com. You can follow my Insta. I tend to be more active on Instagram these days if I have classes and workshops coming up, and you can always email me at just Lori@LoriAllen.com, and then that's my website. And I know I'm teaching something with Susan Palio, and that'll go up on my Instagram probably later today, and like that.
Cool. Excellent. And Jeffrey, why don't you share what's going on here and how people can stay in touch and keep on going? Basically, our
Absolutely.
ideal here is that we want to meet you where you are and take you where you want to be. So, however we can. So good.
Well said. And always such a joy to be on these calls and hear the expertise. Thanks, Lori. Thanks, everybody. If you all are wanting to be the next Lori Allen or are interested in voiceover as a career pursuit of your own, the dojo is a great place to take your career, as Tish said, from wherever you want to go. So we do, if you are starting off or you're just getting your feet wet, we do have a course coming up that starts February 17th. I'll drop a link to it in our chat below. And if you are a little bit further along and you are looking for next steps, I'll drop a link to my calendar so we can connect and plan something out for you.
Yeah. Launchpad with workout is that first step, and we have everything everything to support you along the journey. So, including our working pro workouts, the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club. So, stay in touch and sign up for a VOO, and that's a great way for us to get to know who you are and where you are and where you'd like to be. So that's great. All right, so that is how we keep in touch and keep this momentum going from this call. Let's do a couple more questions. Were there questions that tickled your fancy, Laura, that you saw?
I
Is
saw
this-
one. I apologize if I feel like we got, um, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I kind of scrolled
All
down here.
pulled up in a spreadsheet if you want me.
Mm, yeah.
To Tom's question, can you speak to the way you self-care to remain free and perhaps touch upon the parts of your process that support that? And I wrote back in the chat, I think it's really important to get into like therapy, whatever it is, a 12-step, a spiritual practice of some kind that centers you, that frees you at the same time, you know, and really get to your stuff. So you really work on expectations, and really find a way to ground, you know, be able to self-regulate, to ground yourself, to bring your energy up when you're having a bad day, right? I can't stress enough improv. I can't stress enough having like, take a singing lesson, you know, I take a voice lesson and keep it as your warm up, to warm up physically before and after. I talk about vocal hygiene because I've had vocal surgery and it is not fun. So I personally don't do a lot of big screams in games. So I always make sure to tell my reps or work on stuff that doesn't have a lot of screaming. Certainly you're going to be doing some of that and you'll feel it in your voice. But at any rate, I just try to also have a lot outside of here. I try to see my friends. I stay connected to my family. I try to volunteer with for dogs, animal stuff, animal rights mostly, so that not everything is voiceover.
Mhm.
That's how I try to keep a full, rich life. That has nothing to do with this business. And then Elizabeth,
Thank you, Lori. Love you.
yes, I love you. And then, do you ever get a sense of imposter syndrome? Oh, hell yes, every damn day. We all do. So if I can just, some days I have to act as if, and that's why if I am feeling confident, then it counteracts the days where I'm like, ugh. Like I'm having imposter syndrome about going home to my 40th high school reunion. It's crazy. We all have imposter syndrome. So anyone that says they don't, we all do. So I think you deal with it 20 minutes at a time. You can be a badass for 20 minutes. You deal with it one day at a time, one booking at a time, one audition at a time, one date at a time. It applies to life. So you just, you do a gratitude list every day and you learn to really know what I love about, like, what are 5 things you're grateful for? What are 5 things that you love about yourself?
Yeah,
Really
that you're
get-
great at, that you know you're great at. Sensei Cat has a great saying, be it till you see it, because fake it till you
Oh, I
make
like
it. We don't want to fake it, but be it till you see it, then
Yeah.
like, oh, what if I was? It's kind of like the we, there is no they, there's what if I have the job, I have the job, or yeah. So and we all experience it, right? And I think also when you get to the outer limits of your boundaries, that's when you might be, maybe you're feeling like an imposter because you're like, what am I doing in this booth? Like, what am I doing at this studio working on this? Like, what? Because you haven't had experience in it, or you're moving to the next level, or you've been invited to do something. So it's at the fringe of what you have previously been your boundaries for yourself. So maybe that's when notice when it comes up, notice when you feel like a fake. And then I think there's always a good question like, and that helps who, how? Like when something comes up like that, and that helps who, how? That I'm feeling like a big phony or think I don't deserve to be here. Like,
So I said everybody gets to therapy. Like it all comes from usually our parents. Get your shit worked out, right?
get your shit worked out so you can play in the booth.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do see the last question. Let's see.
Yeah, we've got 3 more minutes.
Cool.
We can, Lori has to roll, but we can hang out for a little bit. So
Like 5 after. Let's see. What do you think in your experience has had the most impact in becoming the voiceover that you are? It just felt a way, wow, talking about like your childhood, like as much as a creative support system I had at home, it was a little crazy. And so I could sort of use voices as a way to entertain people, and do funny things and dramatic things and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, I love observing people. It's my Achilles heel, if you will. Like, I love how people say things. I love storytelling. And so I think that I put those two together. And I think voiceover is the truest form of storytelling. You know, we can't see an eyebrow raise or your hand on your hip. So I love that. So I don't know if that answered that completely. There's not one particular person. And then vocal surgery, yes, I just believe, I'll say a couple things about vocal hygiene. For me personally, I've eliminated, unless I'm just really sick and I have no voice anyway, then I'll have a Hall's cough drop or something like that. But Hall's, Ricola, they all have mint in them, and eucalyptus. So that dries your cords out. So if you're sick, especially, you don't want to keep doing that, because then you are, so slamming your cords together, coughing and whispering are really shitty for your voice, right? So we want to do everything to keep your voice in good shape, which is just humming, trilling, like humming and trilling before a session or during. If you've done something taxing, turn your head away, step out of the booth for a minute, hum, trill, and hum and trill in raspberries. Chewing on vowels is helpful. Before and after, and do them maybe while you're physicalizing. If you can dance and sing to like a Bruno Mars song, if you can sing, like my voice teacher has people on the elliptical doing their Broadway songs, and if you physicalize while you're vocalizing, then you have connected this, and then your breath is already going, so you're in less of a scary place. But warming up, warming down, even if it's for a minute. And if it's something stressful, say, excuse me for just a second, and pull your larynx down and just look up at the ceiling and lick the ceiling. It sounds gross. It stretches your larynx. You can just pull your larynx down, massage this area. So yeah.
And don't mess around. Don't mess around with it at all. If you can preemptively get an ENT, even if you're not working, like get a relationship with a good ENT wherever you live, ear, nose, throat doctor, if you don't know what that acronym is, because when you need them, and it's sometimes hard to get an appointment. So it's good to
get a baseline, yeah, of your cords or laryngologist, because then so for me, I had vocal surgery when I was like in high school. So your cords approximated, they go like this. So back in the day when I had a node, they took it off probably with a physical instrument. They don't so much anymore. They will laser it off. So I always, like, my cords don't approximate, they don't fully come together, which makes for a cool, great sound. But any new ENT is like, your pre-nodule state. I'm like, that's my normal, right? And so I remember like working with Tom Kinney, and he was, who plays SpongeBob. I work with him and known him for so long. And, now that he's got this band, he's got a really callous, cool, he does not get laryngitis. He does not get sore. I have issues talking over people. I tend to talk this way, and I try to not get sick, and I don't talk to a lot of people in their ear. So I'm very protective of my voice. So where I'll get stressed out is vocally stressed out is like at a bar, at someone's birthday party. So for me, if I've got a big session at 8 o'clock in the morning, or a lot of animation sessions, are at 9 to 1. Thank God SpongeBob is at 2. But I had a session for Pixar that was first thing in the morning, and I don't want to be the night before. So I'm very protective of my instrument, because I don't want to. And if I've screamed that night, maybe I'll wait to do that game audition that's due in the afternoon tomorrow. Don't do it that night. Wait till the next morning. So pace yourself and know when you can take. This woman said to Tom and I, we were talking to this voice rehab lady. I really love this woman, Amy Chapman. And she says, give yourself chunks of time to rest your voice. If you have a day job or a very vocally taxing job, or you're talking over people, it's your day job. If you're a server, whatever, time to be quiet. Find chunks of time to be quiet.
Yeah, it's good. Another quippy dojo thing is, if your voice isn't working, you're not working.
Yes.
So, super important. Yeah.
We're right at the top of the hour, and I know, Laura, you've got to go, but this was such a lovely experience, and I was wondering, could we have as many people come turn on their video if you feel comfortable? You don't have to, but I'd love to get a screenshot of us all together here in this moment if you all
Yeah.
are up
And we
for
got
it.
two pages, so
Yeah.
all right, there we go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I'll be real quick. So I'll take 2 photos, and I'll count us in. So 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, hold it, and then I'm gonna get everybody else on the second
Make a funny
page. So
face. You make a funny face.
3, 2, 1. Hey. All right. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Well, Lori,
I
thank
have time
you.
for like one more question. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, go for it. I just wanted to make sure we got
Okay.
that. So keep roll as long. We'll take you for as long as we can get you for.
Okay.
This is amazing.
Good, good, good. If there's anything else, tell me.
What other questions you see, Kelsey? What can we close out with?
Robert has another question.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just a quick one.
Yeah. So earlier you were talking about I'm not trying to I can't really do screaming or I can't really do like any like stressful like day-to-day tasks, but I was just kind of curious if like do you usually talk from the diaphragm or does it all come from the throat? I'm just kind of out of curiosity.
One of the reasons I try to be super physical and I try to work out a lot, which is really important for a myriad of reasons, is so that my breath control comes naturally, right? Like I remember my voice gal, Amy Chapman, talking a lot about when people tell you to talk from your diaphragm, that should be a given, right? So if you're even just doing like 10 jumping jacks, in between stuff, step out of the booth and ha, 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 like anything that just gets your breath connected. Then we're not thinking about, oh, that's right, my breath comes from my diaphragm. It already is naturally coming from your diaphragm. Does that make sense?
Your body works. So how do you get aligned? And that's why it's recommended to breathe from your diaphragm, because that is the mechanism of the breath being
Right.
fully engaged. That is how we breathe.
And
We
you
don't
have
breathe from our throat.
Yeah, and you have vocal folds on top of your vocal cords. They really are a muscle. So I see that with Catherine was talking to, yeah, blowing bubbles, going through the singing straw, which you guys can talk about in a little bit by yourselves, but the singing straw really helps me to vocalize. That wasn't even very good, but clearly it's a way to warm your voice up and down, and then also in between takes in a session to keep your vocal cords relaxed. It's the most efficient way rather than going, you're already using a lot of this. This warms your cords up gently and efficiently as opposed to a loud vocal warm up. So I'm a big fan of warming up gently and often throughout your singing so that you can shoot your wad for the session or for your audition. You're a singer. And there was something else I saw. What's your greatest lesson in how you've managed your VO business, in particular business advice? I don't take things personally. I just can't take things personally. I cannot. I have a varied portfolio of my life, spiritual life, workout life, like my bestie since I was 9, so I just make sure that I have a very full life and I don't take no for an answer. And I really try to, this business is inherently narcissistic. What can I do? Who can I mentor? Can I go walk some dogs? Can I check on other people and see how they're doing? Because everybody's got grief, loss, craziness going on. I'm sure everybody can think of one person they could check on today. So I really just try to have a full, rich life. Or it's that whole Bryan Cranston quote, which I'll find and put in the chat, that I know I've shared with a lot of you. I'll read it and then I'll go. He said, I hope this is helpful. He says, I love this quote. By the way, get a Bryan Cranston book and read it because he's so inspiring. This was him talking about around the time that he did Breaking Bad, how did you start approaching your auditions in a mindset differently? And he says, I was going to give something. I wasn't there to get a job. I was there to do a job. Simple as that. I was there to give a performance. If I attached to the outcome, if I was setting myself up to expect and thus to fail. My job was to focus on character. My job was to be interesting, take some chances, be compelling, serve the text, enjoy the process, which isn't always easy to do, right? There was to be no predicting or manipulating, no thinking of the outcome. Outcome was irrelevant. If you get the job, that's great. Our job is to audition, be well, vocally, physically, mentally, spiritually. If you book something, hallelujah. That's my approach. I couldn't afford any longer to approach my work as a means to an end. So that's my mojo there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right, my dear. We can hang out for a couple more minutes, but Lori's got to go. Thank you so much. And if you have to
love
go,
you guys. I'm so
thank
glad to see
you
so
so much.
many faces I know, and nice to meet new friends. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
I
of
so
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah, our pleasure. And yay.
Yes.
Great. Have a
Thank you,
great
Lori.
evening, Lori.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Do we have a couple more questions?
I'm gonna go. I thought I heard a hey Lori. No?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I
You
see
have
all
to
the
go. You said
comments.
you have to
Love you
go.
guys.
Okay,
Here's
bye.
to success. Mwah.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions? A couple more? No? We can reflect. We can do Dojo O's. That could be fun if there's no more questions. So Dojo O's are how we finish up things at the dojo when we come together. But what's one thing from today that made you go, oh, or oh, or oh? What are you taking away? And put it in the chat. Yeah, lots of really good O's, lots of really good questions that open up for everybody. If it's a question for you, other people are probably thinking about it. But yeah, if you want to shout them out, yeah. Yeah, cool,
No
cool.
idea that lozenges dried your throat. I thought I was helping my
Yeah,
throat.
I was just looking at my little Ricolas here. I don't think they're minty, but yeah, no, it's
Are there ones that are more beneficial for your throat versus others, kind of thing?
I would imagine inherently so, right?
Ones with loquat in them.
The mintless ones.
Loquat, you said, Jeffrey?
Loquat, yeah, it's
Okay.
really like
I'll look
honeyish,
at
very soothing.
Licorice root is a Sensei faith approved lozenge. It actually does, it's a demulcent, it's a lubricant for your throat. So if you're eating like kind of nasty tasting little licorice ones, they're the best.
Yeah, not the high sugar ones, yeah.
Like I say, they all either have sugar or artificial sweeteners, so best avoided.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. Cool. There's some good O's here. List of characters. Questions of allergy. How the video games raise the stakes? Yeah, raise the stakes. Yeah. Good. Well, all right. These are great. These are great, guys. So it's 10 after. We can do one or two things. If let's see. If there are any more questions, we can answer one more of those. The other thing we could do is we can there's still a good number of us. We can go into a few breakout rooms and just get to know each other, just talk or reflect on what came through, which is kind of a fun thing to do if you have a little bit more time.
Tish,
yeah.
I also wanted to mention the interactive toys with Chuck Wedge, Fight Club.
Yeah, which date is that?
That is on next Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, so that
at
would be
5:30.
the day after Valentine's Day. So Chuck Wedge is a dojo member, but he also is a producer at Leapfrog. So if you have any interest or or burn and yearning to find out what it is, or burn and yearning like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Chuck is one of the foremost people in the business and is a lovely man and knows the business inside out. So it's always great to work with him on toys and interactively. And Fight Club is our working pro workout. So to participate, we want to get you approved to be on the roster. Demo, repped, and booking is the criteria to participate, and then everyone is always welcome to grab a spectator seat, which is a great way to spend 2.5, 3 hours with high caliber decision makers in all the different genres that we work in. So highly recommend working with Chuck. And then once you do that, we also have a Go guide that he created, which is basically like a primer on how to get started in the business. So if you're interested in that, check in with Jeffrey because that's a great way to have like a little guidebook, a little handbook on how to get started in that business. So yeah,
Pamela has her hand raised.
yeah, Pamela, hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Yourself? I was just curious. I think I know, but just to make sure that I am on the right track, would you differentiate the difference between your last Fight Club on dubbing versus the live action one coming up?
Oh, let's see. Do you have any more insights, Kelsey and Jeffrey? Because I know it's someone new that Emily has brought to us. So I'm not sure.
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat your question? We're like messing around in the chat.
Yeah.
Info.
Like, oh, super clear headlights, yeah. It's all good. I was just looking for help with differentiating. I think I might know, but I'm kind of speculating on differentiating your last Fight Club on dubbing versus the live action one coming up.
Oh, I have an answer to that.
Okay, good.
So, dubbing is often there's the elements of it's coming in from a different language. So not only are you giving the same vibe or a similar performance to the actor who established the role, but then there's also what you would call like the lip flaps, the flaps. So trying to match English, a different language, to how a mouth moves in a different language. And then for live action, sometimes that could be ADR. So like after recording, stuff like that. And it can be in English. Sometimes either you need to replace the audio that came through for an actor, or if they like can't get the actor back or something like that, you might be called on to give a copycat performance and to fill in for that.
Does
So
that really
yeah.
change? Because that's the only thing I could think of for that was if you're already the actor or possibly have a similar voice, then you're just coming back to fill in those gaps kind of thing. But is there any other time it's really used?
For ADR?
Yeah, I guess like in terms of the like the live action that'll be coming up, is it mostly just those filling in those little gaps, or is there other applications towards it?
Well, I mean, ADR that also gets into the realm of looping, so that's a whole nother realm of things. Yeah, I think best bet, Pamela, because it's a specific question for you to make a decision. Maybe touch base with Emily at Fight Club at the VO Dojo, and she can clarify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, because I think I might just mixing up the two terms a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah. And another thing just to keep in mind is that they both can also be helpful in terms of like there's live recording, like if you're doing like announcing, live announcer. So both of those can also have kind of a Venn diagram synergy with that realm of voiceover as well. So good questions on your end, and good looking for those similarities and those overlaps, because that kind of training can also benefit you in that way.
And I think one of the other things that happened with those two fight clubs is that because Ezra is so well versed in a lot of different things, I think he was originally going to bring in some anime dubbing or some other dubbing that his company, but Dubbing Brothers, like, yeah, no. So he brought in something that gave us the experience of what it is to do the dubbing. But I think we were expecting that Ezra might have been focused on a little bit more animation, which didn't quite roll. But he also does dubbing of foreign films and things like that. So yeah. And then Vivia, I see you had a question. I do think because we were working on non-NDA, well, we all had to sign an NDA. Let's touch base with us and let me make sure. I think we were able to record Ezra's. We weren't going to, but I think we did. So
Yeah, we
just touch
did.
base with us. Yeah.
If anybody wants to send me an email, either if you send it to just info or help at the VO Dojo, or Jeffrey at the VO Dojo, all roads lead back to me in inboxes I have my eyes on. So I'll make sure that you have a chance to sign the NDA, and then also that will allow you to get access. We do have the recording and the notes as well. Our Fight Club liaison, Melina, takes really just stellar in-depth notes.
Yeah,
Like,
you'd want to be sitting next to her in class, that's for sure.
exactly.
Um,
So hit me up if you're interested in Ezra's Fight Club or any other previous Fight Clubs, and I'll make sure that we get them over to you if they were recorded. Some, not all are, but most of them.
Yeah, and next month for this, hopefully all of you have this as a first Wednesday destination. But next month, Jay Preston is going to be joining us as Ask the Sensei. He's an amazing talent and works with Tim Freelander with the Voiceover Collective and VORG, the Voiceover Resource Guide, and just a general good human who knows his business inside and out and does a really great job of keeping that harmony of life and voiceover balance that I think is good. Yeah, cool. Well, my dears, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you for a great Ask the Sensei. Thank you all for being here. Do tell your friends. Do spread the word, and we look forward to hearing from you on VOOs wherever you are in your journey. See what else we can do to be here to support you. So thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks, Kelsey, and thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Take care. Bye.